Broadcasting Company is proud to be the network of Super Bowl 20. Today from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution. And by Eris Isotoner Men's Gloves. This Christmas, give Isotoner Men's Gloves and take care of the hands that take care of you. Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, temperature in the high 20s. This is the regular season finale, and for the Giants, an opportunity for them with a victory to make the playoffs and assure themselves a home field in the playoffs for the first time in more than 20 years and the first time ever in this stadium. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, they'll be home for the holidays. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Pleased you joined us for this pre-holiday football feast. And how do you figure, Merlin Olsen, that the Steelers have anything going for them? The Giants looking for the playoffs. The Steelers, what is their motivation?
Well, Dick, it's hard to argue with your logic, but that's the problem. Who said that NFL football has to be logical? The truth of the matter is that all of the pressure here today is on the Giants. The Steelers can play a loose, relaxed brand of football, and they may be able to play better with that kind of style than they did with a playoff hope on the line.
You know, the Giants, arguably, outside the Bears, may be the best in the NFC. They've lost 6 times, but by only a total of 20 points, and they'll attack a young quarterback, Scott Campbell, who starts for Pittsburgh.
Scotty Campbell has played in 2 games earlier, played well in both. In fact, last week against the Buffalo Bills, brought his team back from 21-0. That's the biggest deficit, biggest comeback in their history. But one thing that's different this week, he's known since last Sunday that he would be the starter in this game. That can create problems for a young quarterback.
As they say in all sports, sometimes you give a man too much time to think and it can hurt the club. Well, it's been somewhat painful for Chuck Noll this year.
Well, Chuck has had a tough year, but down on that sideline, he's talking about pride. There's another motivator, and that is fear. He's not afraid to make changes, and some of these Steelers may not be in uniform next year.
And across the way, Bill Parcells, the Giants head mentor. For the 2nd straight year, he has the team on the winning side of the column. That hasn't happened in more than 20 years. And a victory today, 10 wins, would be the most by the Giants since back in the championship season of 1963 when they lost to the Bears in Chicago. The Giants get the ball first in their blue uniforms. Joe Morris, one of their stars. He's back deep, but it will come instead to 22, Lee Rusan, the rookie from Colorado. 20, 25, and down at the 28. Onto the field comes Phil Simms and the Giant offense. Simms from Morehead State, a chance to be back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons. There are the blockers in front. Oates at center. Ard and Gardfree are the guards. Benson and Nelson at tackle. Johnson and Williams are the wide receivers. Manuel injured. They expect him, if they make the playoffs, to be activated. Bavaro, the rookie, at tight end. Carpenter and Joe Morris. Morris going for the all-time single-season rushing mark. To break Ron Johnson's mark, needs just 49 yards to do it today, and he gets the call on first down. Breaking tackles to the 36. Defensively for the Steelers, it was Donnie Shell with a stop, the veteran from South Carolina State. And here's how Pittsburgh will line up.
No huddle.
3-4 defense.
They've gone without a huddle.
Morris. And the little guy from Syracuse is to the 50-yard line, but a flag is down back at the Giant 37. Morris, only 5'7", 195 pounds. He's not small. He's just short. Part of a very talented football family.
Holding, number 88, offense, 2nd down.
Wide receiver Bob Johnson guilty of the hold, and that'll bring back that long gainer by Morris and gives us a chance to introduce the defense of the Steelers. Dunn has been injured most of the year, playing on one leg. Gary and Willis are the defensive ends. The linebackers feature a Pro Bowler there on the bottom, Mike Merriweather, Dave Little, Robin Cole, and the rookie Greg Carr. Clayton and Woodruff at the corners, and Woods and Shell at safety. 2nd down, call it 13. Little Mr. protection, and Joe Morris all the way out to the 38-yard line. And on 3 carries, Merlin Olsen, Morris chewing up big yardage.
Morris is a stocky fire plug of a running back with excellent speed. He's one of the genuine home run hitters in the game today at running back. Every time he touches the football, he has the potential to go all the way. I think what makes him so tough is first his speed, but second, his ability to break tackles. He also changes direction well. Look at him twisting back through that narrow hole, using that good cutting ability to get good yardage, and it is enough for the first down.
Morris in his 4th season. In his first 2 years, he gained only 48 yards as a rookie. And then in his 2nd season, 145 yards. Came on late last year, and this season having a banner year. Now needs only 39 yards to own the all-time Giants single-season rushing record. He gets the number again. Quick off the blocks to the 43. Behind that left side blocking of Benson and Ard. Keith Gary and Robin Cole, the tacklers.
Dick, this temperature in the high 20s, and for the early part of this game, probably will not have a great impact on the players. The longer we go today, and as that temperature drops, the cold will begin to stick a little bit more, and we're going to see the ball bounced around a little bit, probably see some fumbles and some problems.
Morris, 5 straight carries, and he's close to another first down before Willis can trip him up. Gary assisting at the 49-yard line.
Bill Parcells yesterday in our conversation with him indicated that he felt that his offensive line had a strength and size advantage that they could take over the Pittsburgh defense. And you see them attacking the defense right here in the early going. They've just run it right down their throats.
Parcells, 44 years of age, and he sees another first down for the Giants, who would like to take that early lead. Saw last night a very game effort by a Seattle Seahawks team, very much in the same position as the Steelers. Nothing to gain, but they certainly gave Denver a scare and jumped out to a 17-0 lead. It was very tough for the Broncos to stay alive. So the Giants, learning from that experience, want to get on the board first. Morris, this time Gary Dunn greets him right at the line of scrimmage.
Gary Dunn's hurt. Oh, that's a shame. Someone rolled up on that bad leg of his. Well, he's going to get up off the ground, but boy, I saw him reach and grab that leg. He had the cartilage taken out of that knee earlier. You see him flexing it there, and it's been blowing up on him all during the season. I'll tell you, it's to his credit, he has played well, but not as well as he's capable of. He is one of the fine nosemen in the NFL.
A loss of a yard on that first down carry by Morris, and Sims faces a passing situation. First time. Good protection. Morris, 40, and he has a first down at the 37.
One of the weaknesses of this Pittsburgh defense, their inability to get pressure on the quarterback. Now, very often during the year, they've elected to go with a 3-man rush, but the blitz is on here, and the Giants' offensive line does a great job of picking it up. Oates in the middle picking up David Little, number 55, giving Sims all the time in the world.
21 yards on Sims' first pass of the afternoon. From the 37, Morris again. Oh, fumbles! And apparently comes up with it himself at the 30-yard line. He was hammered by Gary. Keith Gary.
Can you believe that that ball ended up in his hands? It looked like it ricocheted out and then dropped there directly back. Give you a chance to watch it. Watch Gary coming out from the inside. He is going to get the initial hit, twisting Morris. And as Morris is twisted, that ball is going to break loose. Watch it right there. He's twisted away. The ball is up and in the air, and it's kicked right back to him. You've got to get a few breaks in a game like this.
Rob Carpenter, his first carry, and the veteran plowing to the 25 and a first down. Joe Morrison, chatting with him yesterday, said, who's helped you most? He said, Carpenter. Since I was a rookie, he said, Carpenter's always said, hey, don't get down on yourself. Don't look over your shoulder. You're going to be a great player. You're going to make us a great team with your outside ability. And Carpenter coaching and coaxing his younger compatriot, and certainly has helped him to be an outstanding player. And a top blocker is Carpenter in front of Morris.
The same relationship that Louis Lips and John Stallworth have for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
First down at the 25. Oh, Mike Merriweather, the Pro Bowler for the second straight year from Pacific. A flag down. It appeared that Gary might have jumped offside.
I think, though, that when Gary jumped off and got back, that one of the offensive linemen lifted up. I believe the call is going to go against the Giants. Well, so much for that theory. I believe that Gary was able to get back, but the official not seeing it that way. You see him jumping back. Apparently didn't get his head pulled back over.
So instead of a loss of a couple, it's 1st and 5 on the penalty, and the Giants now are at the Pittsburgh 20-yard line.
A good opening power drive by the Giants.
They've already consumed over 5.5 minutes. Sims to Carpenter, 20. And he's hit at the 13 by David Little. Merriweather as well.
This Giant offense has done a good job of mixing their plays. They've run on a few passing downs, passed on a few running downs. Ron Earhart, the offensive coordinator, working for Bill Parcells, and of course the plays being called from the press box and sent down with messengers onto the field to Phil Simms, the quarterback.
Byron Williams to the right. Bobby Johnson to the left. Williams in motion on 2nd and short. Plowing forward is George Adams, the #1 draft pick of the Giants out of the University of Kentucky. And the Giants will have it first. Make that 2nd down and about 7. Adams has done a good job, 479 yards playing behind Joe Morris.
We mentioned Ron Earhart, the offensive coordinator. He's calling the plays. On the other side, Tony Dungy is calling the defenses for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Earhart, the former head coach with the New England Patriots. Morris, big hole, touchdown. It should be. Joe Morris capping that impressive opening drive as he shot through a huge hole for the game's first score.
Taking advantage of that good strength up front. And Morris exploding out of this I formation. Good block by 26 Carpenter. And on the left side of that line, that's well, quickly back.
Eric Schubert, the substitute school teacher, knocks home the extra point, and with 8 minutes and 12 seconds, it was a Joe Morris drive. He ate up 60 of those 71 yards, getting the final 9 for the 7-0 lead, and Morris picked up 45 yards rushing, so he's only 4 away from breaking Ron Johnson's Giant record set back in 1972.
That's the kind of fast start that Parcells was looking for.
Schubert, sidewinder, is going to go out of bounds, hooking out for the 5-yard penalty.
Let's look at what may have been the most important play in that drive. As Morris is driving, Keith Gary strips the ball away. Now watch number 22 Woods coming after the pile. That football will kick off his hand, off his foot, and right into the arms of Joe Morris. Now there are always some plays in a game, 4 or 5 plays that can turn a game around. That particular play, most unusual, allowed the drive to be sustained.
Against the Giants.
Now they bring it back to the 30-yard line. Louis Lips, who received more votes than any wide receiver in the AFC for the Pro Bowl, is one of the deep men along with Todd Spencer.
You know what they like about Louis Lips? They like his attitude. He came back with the rookies this year. Rookie of the year last year, came back with the rookies again and said, hey, what can I do to help? You want me to return the punch? You want me to do the kickoffs? You gotta love this guy.
We're going to take a close focus on him throughout this afternoon. He's a super player. That's going to hook again. Will it go out of bounds? Yes. Another -5. Eric Schubert.
That's not going to make you very popular with your kickoff coverage team. They may come back and have a conversation with Schubert.
Eric Schubert is one of the delightful stories of this 1985 season, however. He was a substitute teacher in high school here, teaching math and Latin and French, $42 a day. Well, as the next teacher, I can tell you, we've always been overpaid. $42 a day, and he's making $4,000 a game now kicking a football. Now, you tell me about the priorities in our society.
Legal procedure.
Well, what about the wind? It's blowing at his back, at least from the high flags, but those sometimes are misleading.
Very often down on the field level, and it appears that right now we're not getting the circling winds that sometimes haunt this stadium.
Ali Haji-Sheikh, who set an NFL record 35 field goals a couple of years ago. His problems, injury problems, although he says he's ready to go now. We had Atkinson here, and then finally Schubert took over in midseason. Kicked 5 field goals his first game. This one's down the middle. Now it's hooking again. Spencer all the way to the 23. Former USC blocking back is to the 40, and he plows out to the 48-yard line. Well, that's the importance of the kickoff. Let's check the Steeler offense as Scott Campbell, a second-year man from Purdue, has these blockers. Pro Bowler again. Mike Webster in the middle. Long and Boris at guard. Ilkin and Penny are the tackles. Benny Cunningham, the tight end. Lewis Lips, sensational. And John Stallworth with 71 catches are the wideouts. Abercrombie and Pollard, a good tandem behind Campbell. Pollard has rushed for 901, and Abercrombie 832 yards. It's Pollard right into the thick of that defense, and he gains only a couple. Harry Carson spearheaded the charge. He's on his way to the Pro Bowl for the 7th time. McGriff, Burt, and Marshall, Leonard Marshall, with 14.5 sacks. The linebackers and a solid core: Byron Hunt, Gary Reasons, Harry Carson, and Lawrence Taylor. Carson and Taylor, Pro Bowlers again. Patterson and Williams at the corners, and Hill and Kennard, the safety men. Ball at the Giant 49, 2nd down 8. Giants have 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Now they drop a couple back. Campbell throwing incomplete, trying to hit Lips. Kenny Hill, a former Raider, on the coverage. Well, they're going to give young Campbell a lot to look at. They showed a full blitz look, and then they dropped off at the snap.
They'll do a lot of shifting around, although they probably won't do as much against the Steelers as they might against another young quarterback, because the Steelers are a pretty basic offensive team. They come up and get that ball moving. They don't do a lot of motion, a lot of jumping around on offense.
3rd and 8. First 3rd down we've had in the quarter. Good protection for Campbell. Now it breaks down. Number 71, Casey Merrill.
And Campbell is hurt. Campbell is hurt, Dick. He really took a shot. I think he may have hurt his right knee.
So the injury-plagued position for the Steelers quarterback. David Woodley left the game last week with they thought was a dislocated shoulder. It turned out to be a bad bruise. And Mark Malone isn't 100%.
Terrible news. Watch Casey Merrill coming from the right end position. He's gone inside now, and Campbell will take the shot on the leg as he throws right here. It looks like Casey Merrill just hyperextended that right knee. You saw the knee pop back slightly. Oh, we've had so many shots on quarterbacks this year.
Phil McConkey deep as Harry Newsome to punt for Pittsburgh. Newsome from Wake Forest, a rookie. 10-man rush. Newsome's had a couple blocked. And he just gets that one away. And it's a good kick. McConkey at the 22 and out to the 26-yard line. Right ankle is the report we get. Scott Campbell with the injury. We'll see whether or not he's able to continue. Timeout. 7-0. John. I heard a fan just yell, "Hey, let's get going here. It's getting cold." I have a feeling you're wearing more clothes now than you did when you played.
I didn't wear much at all in the cold days. In fact, I would wear a long T-shirt and a light pair of gym trunks under my uniform. That was it, no matter how cold the day.
Phil Simms and the Giants leading 7-0, and Morris again. Flags are down, and Morris running at will has another 10 yards or more, and if that counts, that will be a new Giant record.
Looking down to the sideline, we've seen Scotty Campbell moving around down there. Hopefully that's not a serious injury.
That is a new record. There's Campbell. They say now it is the knee, but he appears to be okay. So the penalty took some of the drama away from that run by Morris, but with those 10 yards, he has now passed Ron Johnson, the all-time rusher in a single season for the Giants. Earlier, scoring 18 touchdowns this year, now 19. He broke Gene Roberts' mark of 17 set way back in 1949. So it has been a record-setting year for Joe Morris. 56 yards already today. Go with your hot hand, or hot feet as the case may be, out to the 42.
Dick, just reflecting back for a second on that injury to Campbell, you'd ordinarily think that if you knock a starting quarterback out, that should help you. The Giants don't believe that's true. They knocked out Theismann earlier in the year. Jay Schrader came on to beat them. They knocked out Bernie Kosar. The backup there, Gary Danielson, came on to beat them. And last week, they knocked out 2 quarterbacks for the Cowboys, White and Hogaboom, only to have Steve Pallure, the number 3 guy, come in and take an 82-yard drive to beat them in that game. So we'll have to see what happens here.
You say, where is the logic? Simms is drilled from the backside by rookie Greg Carr. He's in there because Brian Hinkle is out with a broken elbow. Carr, a 6th-round pick from Auburn.
Carr, very excitable and active player. In fact, talking to the coaches, they said he'll hit everybody on the field, even the guys in the white uniforms, even his teammates. But he is all over Simms as Simms reaching to throw that ball. That's the first sack ever for Greg Carr. You see his quickness. They're really pleased. He is a big linebacker, too. Good height on him.
That's a 10-yard deficit. 3rd down and 14. Simms out of the shotgun. That's Robin Cole with another sack. So the Steelers with only 33 sacks all year. That has not been a solid part of their defense, although it's a highly rated defense. Get 2 on successive plays. First the rookie Carr, and then the veteran Cole, and the Giants' Sean Landeta will have to punt.
That's 51 sacks of Giant quarterbacks, of Simms actually, on the year. So they have not had a great year of protecting their quarterbacks. One of the reasons they like the long patterns. They ask for extra time from that offensive line.
Dangerous Lewis Lips back at the 37. He's returned 2 for touchdowns. This one is too short to return. Takes an angular bounce out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 40-yard line. Steelers with the ball. The Giants with a 7-0 lead. 4.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. They've just announced here at Giants Stadium that Morris has set a new single-season rushing record, and as only New Yorkers can, a standing ovation to salute his efforts. Walter Abercrombie on a fake reverse out to the 42-yard line as they gave it the look of Lips to get it on the reverse, but the Giants not fooled at all. Gary Reasons with a tackle. Chuck Noll, how does he motivate his team today? He's talked about pride all week. You lose everything if you don't play with pride. Boy, that's tough, though. I mean, coaches say it, and coaches say, hey, we want to be 8-8, not 6-10 or whatever, 7-9. But do the players hear that when it's cold and you know the other team has everything going for it and you don't? It's a real selling job. Pollard to the 44. And indeed, any team in this situation, the Steelers, with so little going for it, that can win, that's a real credit to the head man, the head coach.
Perhaps the best matchup physically on the field today, right here, between Mike Webster, perennial all-pro center, and Jimmy Burt, number 64. Physically, they are about the same size, both strong. You see Webster going for that shoulder and taking a handful of shirt in the process, but Burt is a tough nose tackle.
3rd and 6. Campbell back in there and misfires to Ehrenberg as he is dumped again. Pressure from Leonard Marshall. The Steelers unable to pick up a first down for the second straight possession. And in comes Harry Newsome. Kind of an interesting story. Harry Newsome, the punter for the Steelers, was a high school teammate of Dale Hatcher, who has made the Pro Bowl, the kicker with the Rams. They grew up together, same high school in South Carolina. Newsome went to Wake Forest and Hatcher to Clemson. Both now kicking in the NFL, and Hatcher has made the Pro Bowl. Newsome's kick is very short. McConkey lets it bounce. A Steeler roll to about the 17. And with that, a timeout with 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Bill Parcells and the Giants, with a win, are home next week for the playoffs. First New Year's Day has always been a special day, bowl day here on NBC. I don't think we've ever had 3 better games than coming up on New Year's 1986. 5 of the nation's top 6 teams featured Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl. Make it a triple header right here with us on NBC. Joe Morris, who else, to the 19, a gain of a couple. Merlin and I will be in Pasadena. Charlie Jones, he getting ready to go do the Fiesta Bowl game. Orange Bowl may be for the national championship. Morris again, and Merriweather hitting his own backfield, or Mike Merriweather hitting Morris in his own backfield for a -4. And perhaps they've gone to the well a few times too many now.
Continuing a Steeler tradition of excellence at linebacker, Mike Merriweather. 4.5 speed in a 40, and he uses it all to come from behind. You see him also working at that football. One hand locking up on Joe Morris, and that other hand trying to break that football loose. He is an undersized linebacker, but what a big play linebacker he's been for the Steelers.
Well, you talked about that linebacker tradition. He replaced 8-time Pro Bowler Jack Ham, and he's gone to the Pro Bowl the last 2 years himself. Sims sacked for the 3rd time, and he's inside his own 10-yard line. Mark Catano from Valdosta State in Georgia, first ever from that school to make it to the NFL. He was there first.
They were teasing Catano. He's got about 40 friends and family here. He's from this area, and they said they're going to have signs up there saying the moose is loose. well, the moose got loose on that one. There's Catano, 78, coming from the backside. Sims almost fumbled that ball.
High kick by Landetta. Lewis Lips. Oh, what a quick first step for Lips. They appeared to have him pinned in, and he just shot by that first charge by the Giant special teams, and Pittsburgh starts in excellent position at the Giant 45.
Most punt return men would have called a fair catch under that situation. Lips has gone 27 punts in a row now without calling the fair catch. One of the reasons he does that is because he's not afraid to take his eyes off the ball and check the coverage. Later on in the game, we'll show you a little bit more of that. That's an unusual trait for a punt return specialist.
42-yard kick, 7 yards on the return. Ball at the 44. 7-0 Giants. A minute and a half left, first quarter. Benny Cunningham. He's inside the 30-yard line. And that's one thing that Scott Campbell has done. He has been a discoverer for the Steelers. He's found the tight end.
A pioneer, so to speak. And one of the things that you have to know, talking to Bill Belichick, is that they were not concerned about the tight ends of the Steelers in the pass patterns. They said, hey, until they start to use those tight ends, we're going to double cover this Pittsburgh wide receivers, Stallworth and Louis Lips.
Cunningham, only 6 catches all year. First down at the 27. Is it good? Yes, to Stallworth at the 17, and that'll be good for another first down. Lawrence Taylor on the coverage. And let's see where they spot the ball. It may require a measurement. Jerry Markbright, the referee, says, yes, I want to take a look at it.
While they're measuring, gives us a chance to talk about one of the great pros, John Stallworth, and his role is changing on this Pittsburgh team. For many years, he was the speed receiver. There you see the first down being recorded for the Steelers. He was the man that would go deep. But now with Lips coming into his loops and jumps and doing so well, Stallworth is taking on a new role, that of a control receiver, much like an Art Monk or like a Dwight Clark out in San Francisco, Charlie Joyner out in San Diego.
Steelers with a first down at the 17, trailing 7-0. Abercrombie. Close to 5 yards before Special K. Terry Kennard from Clemson can make the stop. Boy, stay with us. We've got an excellent doubleheader for you. Oh, Kennard is injured on the play. Following our football game, we've got an outstanding basketball matchup. 2 unbeaten teams out at the Rosemont Pavilion in Chicago. DePaul and Georgetown. So stay with us. You'll hear Marv Albert and Al McGuire covering the battle of the unbeatens, the Hoyas and the Blue Demons, right after our coverage here from Giant Stadium.
Terry Kennard reaching for that left shoulder as he was laying on the ground. And of course, he is very important to this defense. He calls the signals back there. Bill Courier, who was lost earlier in the year, was the leader of that secondary. He went out. Terry Kennard came in to take his place. You saw him taking the shot. Hard to tell exactly what happened, but I saw him reaching for that shoulder earlier, and it may be that he dinged it.
That's a spot where the Giants are thin because of injury, and you look at it again. I think as Abercrombie took him down, he had that shoulder caught underneath Abercrombie's body.
He actually reached for the, well, maybe it's the arm. You see him going down. I thought it was perhaps the shoulder, but maybe as he reached that arm in, he hurt it. But he is up and moving and off the field under his own power. That is good news.
Rookie Herb Welch from UCLA will replace him.
On a day like today, though, Dick, in the cold, everything hurts. The body is not pliable. It's not as flexible as it is on a warm day. And I'll tell you, it is hard. It is hard out there not to get banged up.
And that frozen artificial carpet doesn't help either. Kennard being worked on as the first quarter comes to an end. The Giants looking for the playoffs lead by. Has had a remarkable season once again out of Little Moorhead State of Kentucky. It's interesting. The Big Apple has small college quarterbacks. Phil Simms from Moorhead State. Across the way, Ken O'Brien from UC Davis. Simms had a rough first quarter, -2 yards passing. Those 3 sacks figuring in, but the Giants leading 7-0. Steelers threatened 2nd and 5. Oops, no flag. Incidental contact as Preston Gothard, a rookie from Alabama, tripped at the goal line.
Gothard and Herb Welch, number 27, tangled up on that play. The officials not feeling that there was any illegal contact. The end of the play. Ooh, you can reach up and catch that one yourself. There you saw it as Gothard is looking back to say, hey, that might be a call against Welch, but not so.
3rd and 5. The crowd getting into the act. Calvin Sweeney. I don't think he got the first down. Knocked out of bounds by Byron Hunt and Elvis Patterson. It appears to be a yard shy, maybe even more than that, of a first down. And here comes Gary Anderson, who has made the AFC Pro Bowl squad as the place kicker. He's had another great season. In fact, this would be, if successful, his 33rd field goal. That would leave him just 2 shy of Haji Sheikh's NFL record. Out of Campbell's hold, 26-yarder. And drilled deep back into the crowd. It is a 7-3 game, and we'll analyze why wouldn't Noel gamble when we come back. Why not try for a 7 instead of the 3? Well, that's the Spy Renault, European technology built in America. Make Renault the one to watch. By GTE, advancing technology in telecommunications and electrical products. And by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. Scott Campbell wearing number 10. That was the number worn by his idol when he grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Fran Tarkenton. They skid it low to the 15. Lee Rusin out to about the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Well, Chuck Noll elected to go for the 3 on 4th and a yard and a half. You agree with it?
I think what he's trying to do is keep the pressure off Scotty Campbell. You got a young quarterback in there. You got a chance to get points on the board. It was a long yard. In fact, more like 2 yards. I think if we'd have been looking at half a yard, the decision might have been different. But Noel has always been a conservative coach, especially in a situation where you got a young quarterback in the game.
So it's 7-3 Giants early in the second quarter. Joe Morris. And Greg Carr with a stop and a flag goes down. Might have been a face mask. No, the Steelers applauding as if it is against the Giants for holding.
Dick, something that's kind of interesting in a sense. Well, we'll let the officials sort this one out first.
Holding number 26.
Rob Carpenter.
First down.
And they'll mark it back to the 15.
I think one of the penalties that we are going to see more and more of is holding by the offensive blockers. And look at Carpenter, just wraps his arms around and tackles right there. And that's Robin Cole, the linebacker that he's working on.
His version of Tango Argentino. Morris on the draw out to the 19-yard line. Just to underline again the importance of the game. The Giants, if they win today, are in the playoffs and will host the wild card game here next week. They're battling Washington and San Francisco. Two of those three teams will make it to the wild card, obviously. They're the Pro Bowlers of the Giants. Morris beating out Eric Dickerson. That raised a few eyebrows.
Dickerson and Dorsett. I mean, that's not a bad tandem.
His Morris's were a pair of those eyebrows. He was surprised. Sims protected well this time and overshot his intended receiver, Bob Johnson. Bringing up 3rd and long. Pressuring on the play was John Goodman from Oklahoma. For the Steelers, I guess the one team that is watching most closely for a Steeler win are the Cincinnati Bengals. They're rivals in the AFC Central because Cincinnati, in its convoluted way to the playoffs, needs a Pittsburgh win today. And they are the Pro Bowlers for the Steelers. Lips, Webster, Merriweather, and the kicker Anderson. Third down 15 for Sims. No flag. Now a flag, a late flag indeed. Donnie Shell, the man who threw the flag, was right in front of the Giant bench, and I would guess that he probably had a little help.
Pass interference, number 31, defense, automatic first down.
Eric Williams, no, Donnie Shell, 21. If you're in New York City, you'd believe that Joe Klecko invented the slant of the nose tackle. That's not true. It's the signature of this Pittsburgh Steeler defense going back to the days of Mean Joe Green. Gary Dunn right there, angling in on that nose tackle.
First down on the penalty, and Morris carries. He may go all the way. Touchdown, Giants. In the Big Apple have always loved the home run hitter, and as Merlin indicated earlier, here's a guy that can score from any spot on the field, and Morris celebrating a sensational year with a banner first half.
Ran so fast he lost his shoe in that scamper for the goal line, Dick. Didn't slow him down a bit.
128 yards already for Morris. And the Giants explode to a 14-3 lead as Joe Morris punctuates his Pro Bowl year. Year for Joe Morris. 20 touchdowns rushing for the Giants. He was too fast for his own equipment on that last run, and Merlin will show you some evidence right after this kickoff. 14-3 on the 65-yard scamper by Morris, who has 128 yards in this first half. Schubert, obviously the wind blowing in that direction. Touchback Steelers. Let's go back to Morris's run.
Joe Morris will start off to his right as we turn it loose and let him run. He'll run to his right and cut back against the grain, coming right at you. Now watch as he breaks out of the tackle by Robin Cole right here, and as Cole goes down, he gets away from him just to turn it loose. Now a second tackle, And here's where the shoe disappears. Stop it right there. There's the shoe that he's lost. It's stripped away. He's got to go about 65 yards barefoot on that left foot.
Scott Campbell to the sidelines. The stalwart. No catch. He was out of bounds.
Well, how fast can he run with one shoe off and one shoe on? I'll tell you, pretty darn fast. Faster than Donnie Shell, who was trying to catch up. Faster than Dwayne Woodruff, number 49. And it looked mighty good to these fans here in New York as he tromped into that end zone.
Well, that name's going to ring familiarly on New Year's Day as well. The University of Michigan sophomore running back Jamie Morris, his younger brother, playing for the Wolverines, and another potential star. 2nd and 10. Abercrombie on the draw. Coach Parcells of the Giants indicating yesterday he's never seen a team run more draws than the Steelers. They're averaging about 10 a game.
Going back to the line of scrimmage, we talked about that battle taking place between Mike Webster, number 52, and Jim Burt. Burt, you see, lunging into the inside, gets locked up by a couple of the blockers there. Number 71, Emil Bores. That's doing a little wrestling technique there. That's called a snatch. You grab the guy and you fall down. He ends up on top of you. He can't make the tackle that way.
3rd down and 3. And it's Ehrenberg drilled, but has the first down at the 31. You know, going back to the Webster play, it showed you why he's a Pro Bowler, the veteran from Tomahawk, Wisconsin. He helped out on the one block, but looking immediately to see where he could pick up some other blue uniform, and finally pursued downfield and made another hit.
The thing that has always made Webster such an outstanding player, first his durability and his physical ability. Look at the size of the arms. I think these may be the 2 biggest sets of biceps in the NFL on Webster and Burt.
Abercrombie. Fumble, but I believe it was Webster who recovered it. So he's also alert downfield.
You could hear the popping as they double teamed on that last play. Watch Webster. Abercrombie slow getting up from that play, but let's go back to the beginning of that play. We've talked about the matchup on the nose. Watch Webster make the snap and pop out right here on Burt, getting help from Long. Look at that power as the two of them launch into the double team. Then Webster slipped off to get downfield to pick up a second block. As the ball broke loose, who's there to pick it up? Mike Webster, 52. Alert play.
Never missed a game in his pro life, now in his 12th season. 8 consecutive Pro Bowls, 177 consecutive games. Webster, and I asked Campbell yesterday about going into the huddle with those veterans. He said that's where Webster is helpful as well. He says, hey, he'll give you one of those and let me have some attention that I may not command on my own. He's going to be an outstanding coach someday. You see players that even at this stage, you say that guy's going to be a potential head coach sometime. Mike Webster. Abercrombie shaken, but based on what we've seen in the first half, as you said, Merlin, it hurt so much more in the cold that maybe not as serious as the painful expression might indicate.
Favoring that left leg as he comes off, and some of the big horses don't have any trouble going with some of the little hurts, but a running back, when you've got those legs twisted up, an ankle or a knee, it makes it awfully difficult, especially for a hard cutter like Abercrombie.
2nd down at the 37, trailing 14-3 are the Steelers. Trying to become the 4th Steeler ever to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. Of course, Franco Harris did it 8 times. John Henry Johnson a couple of times. And Rocky Blyer once. 99 yards as Pollard's aim today to hit that 1,000-yard mark.
One of the strengths of this Steeler team during this year was the ability of the 2 rushers, Pollard and Abercrombie, in a 2-back setup. And of course, with Abercrombie out of there, they've now got a pass receiver, Rich Ehrenberg, in there. He's usually a 3rd down back.
Play action. Open is Cunningham. What a play by Herb Welch. Welch playing for the injured Kennard. And it appeared that Cunningham had himself a sure first down and maybe much more, and Welch, a 12th round draft pick, made the play.
The kind of play that Scotty Campbell will probably make if he has a chance to be around a little bit longer. Just slightly late with the pass. If this ball had been thrown when he made that first movement, there would have been no defensive back there. But by the time he got it off, Herb Welch had closed the cushion and batted it away.
10.5 minutes left in the first half. McConkey, former Naval Academy star. Fair catch at the 27, but a flag is down. Back at the line of scrimmage. A 32-yard punt by Harry Newsom. Penalty against the Steelers, and on the short kick, you would guess the Giants will take the ball right where it is.
That looks to be the case. They've moved their offensive team out. Well, wait a minute.
Illegal motion.
Now they're going to take it back.
55. Offense. 4th down.
Well, let's see. They would have had the ball on a 32-yard punt. We'll just see how well Newsom does on this kick.
You talked about Newsom's kicking earlier with that 3-step motion and that slow kicking action. These Giants eager to get another shot at it. Let's see if they do go after it.
Much better kick. McConkey back to his 24. Breaking tackles at the 40. Fumbles. Was he down? Yes. Giants maintain possession at the 43.
Mike Merriweather makes that tackle as he comes in from the side. Let's go back and look at the kicking action. The ball snapped very quickly back from the center, but look how many steps. 1, 2, 3. Bingo. Well, they got that one away.
But a 21-yard return by McConkey. Stadium, it's the Hoyas and Demons, both unbeaten early in this college basketball year. So stay with us. An outstanding matchup. Rob Carpenter with a good move, and he might go all the way. 40. And finally, no, Woodruff can't get him. He's all the way to the 13-yard line. Undoubtedly his longest run of the year, 46 yards. He had gained only a total of 145 for the season.
An average of just over 2 yards a carry on the season, and they've run to their right again behind Benson and Ard over there, taking advantage of the young rookie Carr. And that's surprising speed. Rob Carpenter, had never been known as a speedster, looked good on that play.
David Little makes the hit on George Adams.
Here's the last of that run. Carpenter's always had great strength. He never quit on a run. He's a fighter, and they usually employ him on short yardage situations. He gets the big run today. Good old-fashioned running football. We don't get to see much of that anymore, Dick.
Remember that game, Carpenter, when he was with the Oilers against the Chargers and injured, actually crawling off the field, and helped the Oilers to a playoff win at San Diego. Joe Morris looking for number 3. Boy, those powerful legs of Morris is chugging away. Now he can bench press twice his weight, around 400 pounds. With his speed and his strength and his size, not much to grab. He has 133 yards today. The Giant record for a single game is 218. Now, with this big first half, Morris looking to erase another mark. Bavaro, the rookie tight end from Notre Dame, is the injured player.
Of course, Bavaro having a great year in his rookie year because of his play. They were able to overcome a crippling loss earlier in the year. Oh, he's up. Good. Good.
Zeke Moat and Lionel Manuel are the 2 players injured, and Bill Parcells said, with those 2, then I think we might have been a great team. Well, we really missed their firepower.
What he talked about was the ability to attack the whole field. And he said when you have a Moat who's a constant threat from that tight end position, and a Lionel Manuel who can get open against the best of backs, and then the running attack with Joe Morris in the backfield, people have a hard time figuring out where to try and stop you first.
3rd and about 2 for Morris. He's got the hat trick or not? No, he stopped at the 1. Right at the goal line, he got knocked back, but it'll be 1st and goal from a foot away.
It's interesting. Out in the middle of the field, they have gone to the left side of the Pittsburgh defense. Here in short yardage, they've gone to the right side. Good trap block right there. Billy Ard, 67, getting across. Here's another shot of it right here. Chris Godfrey getting a good block. 44, Maurice Cawthorn. Good job on there.
Dennis Winston denied the touchdown. Number 55, Phil Simms, calls time with 7:37 remaining in the first half. A half dominated by the Giants' rushing game. They already have 193 yards on the ground. Well, tomorrow, and they're here in the stadium today for NBC Radio. It'll be Don Criqui and Bob Trumpy who will be here in this stadium as the Browns and the Jets battling for their playoff positions. Cincinnati at New England. A couple of teams also with playoff hopes. Buffalo at Miami. San Diego, Kansas City, and Houston, Indianapolis round out our NBC card. Hope you'll be with us. There's Big Bob Trumpy. He fills up the booth. Why is it that you analysts, you ex-athletes can't sit down and we old-timers, the play-by-play men, have to...
Well, a day like today, you want to stay warm. There's the Crick.
Hey, he's hugging the iron. He loves the iron.
He's not going to give Trump a chance at it.
Trouble is the cold weather. It's stuck in there. He won't get that out till about 7:30 tonight.
You mentioned the kind of yardage that these Giants have already in the first half, and they're not doing it against an easy team to rush on. Pittsburgh has only given up an average of 106 yards per game. They were 8th in the NFL in stopping the running game. So they have played pretty well against the run all year long. That makes this performance by the Giants even more impressive.
4 shots from inside the 1 for the Giants. And stopped at the goal line is Maurice Cawthorn. He is primarily employed as a blocking back for Morris in short yardage. They try to give Cawthorn the ball, and his first NFL touchdown, he played for the New Jersey Generals, where he was the blocker for Herschel Walker.
Looking right into the eyes of the quarterback and then looking at the play itself. David Little doing a good job of getting over from his linebacking position, number 50, to get a piece of that tackle, but they're inching closer and closer to that goal line.
Morris, touchdown. His 3rd touchdown of this first half, and 21 for the year. And it's a 20-3 Giant lead.
Following the block of number 44, Maurice Cawthorn again in behind that right side in short yardage. Gets over the top. Slides into that end zone.
So the Rob Carpenter run of 46 yards, setting up the touchdown. Schubert tacks on the extra point with 7 minutes exactly left in this first half. And what a first half it has been for 25-year-old Joe Morris.
Good blocking by Chris Godfrey. Carl Nelson over there. Block on the top by Vito Cab, 82, the tight end. And there's Joe Morris rolling into the end zone.
He has broken Ron Johnson's single-season record, but of course Morris has a pretty good history in that regard in breaking records. At Syracuse, he became the all-time rusher for the Orangemen, breaking the likes of Zonka and Little and Davis and a guy named Jim Brown. So Joe Morris knows about erasing some pretty big names.
I'll tell you, when you have a running back doing that kind of job on the field, the defensive players love him, because that means the defense can get a little break on the sideline.
The Steeler defense, sometimes when there isn't the great motivation, there isn't the playoff, it shows first on defense. And there seems to be much more power and will on the Giants side of that line of scrimmage in this first half. Todd Spencer, whose dad was quite a heavyweight boxer, Thad Spencer. Out to the 27-yard line. Lee Rusin made the tackle.
Dick, just to follow up on your comment about the defense, the Steeler tradition, the great steel curtain defenses of the past, and so many years they were the part of this team that would rise up at the end of the game to deny the other teams. This year, in 3 critical games and 3 losses against Miami and Denver and San Diego, the defense let the other team off the hook, and those were 3 losses that could have turned their season around.
Campbell. Oh, was he lucky to get away from Lawrence Taylor? Taylor was coming in on the blind side, and Campbell's quickness of foot saved that one as he had a screen set up to the right, and his pass was close enough.
Watch Lawrence Taylor. He not only wants to get the quarterback, he's going to get Jerry Markwright too. He's going to take them both down. One sweep. Watch him as he keeps going. Markwright on the ground, the quarterback on the ground, but good athletic ability. He sensed Taylor coming at him from that left side and got up in the air and got rid of that ball to save the sack.
Oh, I thought you meant good athletic ability for Markwright.
That's right.
Fear can really motivate, can't it? Pollard. Down by Kenny Hill, number 48. Hill went to Yale University, where his degree was molecular biophysics. I said, how does that translate to what you're doing now for a career? He just smiled and said, well, I'm not, this is a little boy in me. This isn't the fellow with a degree from an Ivy League school. We understand that we have some technical difficulties. The cold has taken a bite out of our video. We're working feverishly to correct it, so please be patient with us. 3rd down and 9. Campbell to throw. Intercepted by Andy Hedden at the 35-yard line. A flag is down. Apparently it is against the Steelers, at least from the reaction of the Giants. Andy Hedden with the interception, his 2nd of the year, first turnover of this first half. Amogoras guilty of the hold, so obviously the Giants decline and take the ball at the 36-yard line, and this is beginning to have route written all over it. Sorry, there's no picture. We'll do a little radio play-by-play as Sims sets the line at the 37 of the Steelers. 21-3 the score. Giants in the lead. With Williams in motion, the handoff to Morris off left tackle. 35 and down to the 31 he goes. Greg Carr, right side linebacker, makes the stop after a gain of 5 for Morris.
We mentioned earlier that the Giants felt that they could establish superiority on the line of scrimmage behind a good blocking offensive line, and in particular attacking the rookie at that right linebacking on the outside, right linebacking position, Greg Carr. And boy, they have done it today. 17 times they've rushed for over 140 yards.
Johnson split left in motion from the right side is McConkey to give to Morris off the right side. 30, slams through a tackle and spins to the 27. And that will be close to another first down as Morris is over the 145-yard mark rushing in this first half. David Little, the tackler for the Steelers.
Those are usually numbers we see for passing yardage by a quarterback and a half. But here it's being established by a running back, and of course aided by that one giant gulp that he took there to get his first touchdown.
4 minutes, 55 seconds left, first half. 21-3, the Giants lead. First down at the 26. The give to Morris. Breaks a tackle as he runs right through the arms of Darrell Sims, the rookie from Wisconsin, defensive end of the Steelers, and spins forward for a couple more.
Well, it's apparent that Bill Parcells has done one very good job of getting his team to forget that disappointing loss last week in Dallas. He gave his troops 2 days off. He's gotten their mind back on football, and they came to play here today.
Morris with 3 yards at 2nd and 7. Morris out of the backfield in motion to the right side. Back to throw. Sims under pressure. He guns the ball incomplete to Vito. Mark Bavaro is back in. Bavaro unable to hang on as he was hit hard by Rick Woods on the coverage for the Steelers. We're giving a little more play-by-play because we understand we're still having difficulty with our video here from Giants Stadium. And we apologize. 4 minutes, 11 seconds left in the half. Ball at the 23-yard line of the Steelers. 3rd down and 7 as the Giants break huddle. Byron Williams sent to the right side. McConkey to the left in the slot with Johnson wide left. Tony Galbraith, good receiver, and George Adams with a shotgun. Sims takes the snap, fades back, looks, fires left side, wide open, touchdown, Bob Johnson. Yards as Johnson has his 8th touchdown reception of the year.
Dick Edberg, we talked at the beginning of this telecast about motivation. Being loose and relaxed has not helped the Steelers a bit. They're getting killed out there today.
Now Sims with his first touchdown throwing in this half. Schubert's extra point is down the middle. And with 4 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the first half, the Giants dream of a home playoff game next weekend beginning to take very real shape here in the cold of East Rutherford, New Jersey this afternoon. 36 yards and 5 plays for the Giants after the pass interception by Andy Hetton. Bob Johnson, the payoff on a 23-yard throw from Phil Sims for a 28-3 lead.
The kind of day so far that you'd love to have for your team as a tune-up for the playoffs. Got to remember now that home field advantage important for a wild card team. Once they get by that first game, they must play the next 3 on the road, and that's always a tough task. But the Giants showing good balance here, run and pass.
Here's Schubert on the approach. He sends a spinning kick deep inside the 5, lifts at the 2, right up the middle at the 10, the 15, 20, a little crack, and down he goes at the 25-yard line. And Lee Roussan made the tackle along with Vito Cab. Still having difficulty, although the pictures are fine here in the stadium, apparently not making their way from our New York system.
Actually, sun is shining here. Oh, wait a minute. You can see that at home. Good. Technical advance. We made it, folks.
I was going to set a new record for apologies there. I was up to my 8th. I'm sorry.
Well, almost as many as the Steelers may have to make if they continue on this tack.
That's Pollard to the 35-yard line. For those of you who were unable to see the touchdown from Sims to Johnson, here it is, 23 yards down the left side.
Out of that spread formation, a nice catch. Watch the turn here. Johnson had to go all the way back around, and I'm impressed with receivers who can make that move, keep their concentration on the ball, and then even if he had more distance to run, he had his body in control as he swung around and continued on up the field.
A fan there from Armada, Michigan. It was good we got a chance to see him react as well. Well, at the 36, first down on that little pass, incomplete on the sidelines to John Stallworth. I've got a little trivia question, football trivia question for you too, Merlin. 5 years ago on this weekend, a very important sports television event.
Well, let me think about that.
If you know the answer, don't tell me. Don't tell me. And if you're at home, don't tell anyone if you know. Don't talk.
Offense, decline, 3rd down.
answer to our trivia question. The brilliance of Larry Cirillo was displayed in Miami, Florida at the Orange Bowl 5 years ago this weekend. We televised the game without. I like the way they said that. Benefit of announcers.
Yeah, we've done it both ways today, without pictures for a short while and briefly without audio benefit from the announcers anyway.
There's some line drive to McConkey at the 20. And to the 27-yard line. The Giants have the pumpkin again with 3 minutes left in the half and a huge 28-3 lead.
We talked about Louis Lips as he watches that football come down, drops his eyes to check on the traffic downfield. McConkey concentrating on that football all the way, and a lot of receivers are really afraid to take their eyes off of that football for fear that when they drop back up, they're going to lose it. But what a great contribution he has made. Classic overachiever.
Lieutenant Phil McConkey, after his 5-year stint in the Navy, out of the Naval Academy, and I said, you know, that's a tough duty for you, that punt return. That's not a... He said, hey, tough duty was landing in the dark in a rough sea, a helicopter on a destroyer. That was tough duty.
There goes McConkey carrying the play in. And Dick, another thing, I talked to him yesterday. He wanted to talk about Napoleon McCallum. What a great year he has had, and about the future and about McCallum's possibilities. He said, you know, he may want to be an admiral. He may not want to come to play football, but he's very impressed and very proud of his days at the Naval Academy and in the service.
Morris looking for more. And he chews up another 15. That'll give him 166 yards unofficially in a big first half. Uh-oh, they're going to bring back some of those this time.
Well, for all of you folks who may have wondered why they passed up Eric Dickerson and Tony Dorsett to put Joe Morris in the Pro Bowl, if you've watched today and watched this young man play in this first half, we don't have to say much.
85, offense, second down.
Veteran Don Hasselbeck, the tight end, guilty of the hold. That's about the only thing that has stopped the Giants, and that only for a pause. Clock ticking away. We'll probably run to the 2-minute warning.
With all of the running that's been done in this first half, a very quick first half for us.
On the draw, and he does draw a crowd at the 20, and that is the 2-minute timeout. Joe Morris celebrating a brilliant first half, 3 touchdowns, 150 yards rushing, and it all spells out good things for Giant fans. It's the Giants 28, the Steelers 3.
Welcome back to Giant Stadium. We hope you'll join us on New Year's Day for the granddaddy of them all.
And Chuck Long, congratulations to the Maxwell Award winner as college football's top player. Very close runner-up to Bo Jackson for the Heisman. George Adams, back of the future here with the Giants, a rookie from Kentucky, stopped by Robin Cole, and that'll be shy of the first down.
Perhaps one of the most interesting things about this game is how it will sort out some of the playoff question marks.
Well, the San Francisco 49ers are in a bit better position should it get down to the very short strokes. But the win by the Giants, they know for sure they're in, and they will host next week. And we'll host one of those two teams. So close. Landetta just gets it away. Louis Lips 40 and out of bounds at the 43. Frank Picorni, the rookie from Youngstown State, number 80, very close to nailing that kick.
Young Scotty Campbell not only facing a tough defense overall today as he plays against this Giant defense, ranked number 2 in the NFL, but Dick, the thing that's I think is personally going to be so difficult for him today is looking over those big linebackers. Bill Parcells has kind of got his own philosophy about the draft. It's a prescription draft, in particular for linebackers. Wants those big, fast linebackers. He said we'll only look at about a half a dozen linebackers around the country in a year, and maybe only want 1 or 2 out of that group.
Just look at Lawrence Taylor, and he's the prototype. Pollard, big hole, 50. Ooh, battering ram to the 46-yard line.
We showed you how McConkey looked at that football all the way down. Here's Louis Lips. Louis looking at the football. Now watch him drop his eyes. You see him look down to check the rush. Twice he's down, and now he knows where everybody is, takes that football, and gets it upfield.
The eyes have it here at Giant Stadium, and we have a timeout. 85 at halftime, and certainly after the game for our basketball presentation from Chicago area. The Paul's Blue Demons unbeaten against the Georgetown Hoyas, ever so close to back-to-back national championships last year. Cinderellas from Villanova spoiling that party, but John Thompson has another outstanding team, as does Joey Meyer at DePaul. It should be a good one. Both teams are unbeaten. Here it's 28-3. The Giants. Pollard again on the draw. Good move by the veteran to the 41-yard line, where Jerome Sally in for Jim Byrd on the nose makes the tackle, and Pollard is hurt.
Still on the ground. We talked about Abercrombie's ankle injury that has got him on the sideline, and the two-back offense that has accounted for more than 1,700 yards for this Pittsburgh offense on the year. Now the second of that tandem down on the field and moving very slowly.
Pollard and Abercrombie, the Baylor twins, both attending at fine university. Let's see what happened to Pollard.
Twist to get out of there. A lot of drop plays, trying to slow down the rush and take advantage of the pass drops of that Giant team.
Might have fallen on the football.
Hard to tell what happened to him. He's got his hand on his back, it looks like here. No, because he's got someone supporting him.
31 yards today to give him 932 for the season, his best ever with the Steelers.
Now we saw Scotty Campbell go to the sideline with a knee problem, came back in the game. There's Abercrombie on the sideline, leg problem, has not returned, and now Pollard sideline. Well, if on a day when the scoreboard is very ugly, if you're a Steeler fan, the news from the sideline is equally distressing.
Number 47, rookie Steve Morse from Virginia, is the sole running back. Campbell hit as he throws, incomplete. Lawrence Taylor had him low, and Lawrence Taylor showing why he has been an All-Pro 4 consecutive years and probably will make it again this year.
Watch Lawrence Taylor coming from that linebacking position in the back, and blitz his way around and work his way through the traffic to get in on the quarterback, Scotty Campbell. Watch him here inside of Tunch Ilkin and over the top of Morris to just continue on through and take Scotty Campbell down. And that's the same knee that Campbell hurt early on. Well, I'm sure he's got some pain with that knee, but he's got youth and energy on his side.
Here comes Taylor again. They pick him off. Now he gathers himself, and he's in on the tackle. Now Campbell could not find a man open. The good play made by Casey Merrill to hold him up, and then Taylor all the way around the backside to get in on the play.
Now we watched Taylor jump over the top of Steve Morris earlier. Steve says, no way, don't get me this time. Gets up and gets a good bump on him. Marshall, coming from the backside, is the man who will be credited with the tackle. Casey Merrill, not Marshall.
4th down and 8. Campbell knocked away by Perry Williams, or check out Ted Watts, the Giants, and with that the Giants get the ball.
Yeah, a lot of traffic around the quarterback, and of course when your running game disappears, when you lose your big threat running the football, and you know you've got to throw the football anyway, it's a defensive field day.
First down.
Now the Giants will certainly find their quarters cozy as they leave after this first half, and their hope certainly is bright as they could ever have expected. They were concerned about this Steeler team. Cleveland, of course, in the AFC Central defeating the Giants here earlier in the season, a very important loss. Intercepted by David Little of the Steelers, and the clock stops with 4 seconds left in the half. That's Little's second interception of the year. McConkey, the intended receiver, made the tackle.
Now when you have this big a lead, you can afford to throw caution to the winds. Sims in a situation that he would probably ordinarily have just burned out the clock on, throwing down the middle. Picked off by the Steelers, who've had little to cheer about so far in this first half.
Parcells didn't seem too pleased with whether it was the execution or the call. Last play, triple right. Campbell with a roll. We thought we'd see more of that today. And knocked around incomplete, and that's the end of the first half. Joe Morris and the New York Giants with a big 30 minutes. The little man running tall, 100.
It's like that, and this holiday season, and since we may not have a chance later on, we certainly want to wish all of our friends on NBC Sports the very best of holidays, and to your
and
family
our families too.
You bet.
It's a time that they miss us because we're gone a lot, but it's special to get all the families together, and football has had a traditional part in that.
Well, speaking of being home for the holidays, it's almost become a cliche now. The Steelers may have left early.
Well, I think back in Pittsburgh, a few of the cars are packed and the wives are waiting for these players. However, not a good idea to finish the season before the last game is over. And I think there are some players who took a rather steely look from Chuck Noll in that locker room. And I bet there was an icy wind blowing in there because they embarrassed themselves in the first half of this ball game.
Joe Morris did not. He has proven that he is a solid choice in making it to the Pro Bowl, and this young man, who perhaps is least known of all the great running backs in the league, has really developed in a year and a half into something special.
Well, I think every great athlete would like a moment to showcase his talent, and this young man, very humble, he has had that opportunity here today and has made the most of it. We said in the early part of this game that one of the most impressive parts about his ability as a home run hitter is that he breaks tackles with great strength, as well as being able then to take advantage of the open field. He did both of those things well. In fact, I don't remember seeing a Pittsburgh Steelers team tackle as poorly. And a lot of that, I think, credit to Joe Morris and to the other Steeler running backs. Rob Carpenter getting his longest run of the year as well. So it hasn't just been all Joe Morris.
If it goes this way, then the Giants would assure themselves the home field advantage next week in the wild card, playing either San Francisco or the Washington Redskins. A loss by Pittsburgh means that the Cleveland Browns are in as the AFC Central champions. And of course, Cleveland will be playing here tomorrow against the Jets. The Jets and New England Patriots battling for a playoff spot of their own.
You're looking at the halftime statistics, and of course the big number, and most of that yardage belonging to Joe Morris. 218 yards rushing, twice what the Pittsburgh Steelers have averaged giving up in a game, let alone a half. Chance for some other records to fall today. Joe Morris has already launched himself past the all-time rushing record for these New York Giants. The other numbers there, one turnover apiece, possession time, as you would expect, with that powerful running game leaning heavily on the favor of the Giants. And the biggest number at 28-3 on the board. The wind is beginning to blow here. They're going to have to hand hold the football as they kick it off for the start of the game.
Louis Lips takes it at the 3-yard line. Lips out to the 20 and to the 30-yard line. Campbell returning to the lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And received rather rude treatment from that talented Giant defense the first half, and the numbers reflect that.
Pollard back in the lineup, along with Todd Spencer.
Spencer to the 35-yard line. Todd was the blocker primarily in the backfield for Marcus Allen in his Heisman year with the University of Southern California. And of course, Marcus Allen going for a rare rushing title. Raiders have never had that honor, and in the game Monday night against the Rams, and what a game that should be with interest in Southern California. Marcus and Eric Dickerson matched up, and Marcus going for the rushing title. 2nd and 5. Campbell behind Louis Lips at the 50-yard line.
We have a flag down on the field. One of the problems that this Pittsburgh offense has had all year long, Dick, is not being able to take full advantage of the talents of Louis Lips. They've gotten the ball to him 58 times as a pass receiver coming into this game. But he is such an explosive player, one has to wonder how many passes he would have caught this year had he been catching from Dan Marino or perhaps a Dan Fouts. You can't really appreciate a man's talent like that unless he's, well, featured in an offense that gives him full opportunity. And Lips has had good opportunities here, but you can't help but ask that question anyway.
Indeed. In fact, even at that, 15 touchdowns. A new Pittsburgh record, 12 of those on receptions to tie Buddy Dial's mark. That's John Stallworth. Short yardage out at about the 32-yard line. Perry Williams defensing.
And we're seeing a little history being made on this field today as Scotty Campbell starts this game. All of the plays virtually are being called for him by the Pittsburgh coaching staff. Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, and the Steelers really the last team in the NFL to allow their quarterbacks to call the plays on the field. But with the young Scott Campbell in the ball game today, the plays are being called for him.
3rd and long, 28-3 Giants starting the second half. Down the middle to Lips. And he shows why he is such a volatile player offensively. That great acrobatic skill. Perry Williams makes the tackle at the 50, first down. First catch of the day for Lips.
Louis Lips right at the bottom of your screen. Working one-on-one on Perry Williams, number 23, driving across the field. That ball is high. Look at him. He doesn't care. He just goes up and corrals it and brings it down.
He has been productive, and he and Stallworth the second best catching tandem in the entire NFL. Pollard driving for about 10 more before Kennard can wrestle him down at the Giant 40.
You see Pollard getting up limping. Kennard, as you might remember, left the ball game earlier with what appeared to be a dislocated thumb. He came back briefly and then had to exit again as they taped that thumb even more carefully. He's back up in the lineup again, and two injured Warriors colliding on that play.
Pollard comes out, and Morse has replaced him. 2nd and a yard for the Steelers, and Spencer vaulting through a good-sized hole, and a first down at the 34. Harry Carson, inside linebacker, number 53, making the tackle.
Dick, I talked about the prescription drafting, or looking for players of a specific size, a specific weight, specific speeds. And of course, that's Bill Parcells' philosophy. On the other side, Chuck Noll is willing to take various size players, and we'll talk about the offensive line because some of the most interesting are playing in that offensive line.
Best drive of the game for the Steelers. Going deep.
Oh, what a great catch.
Stallworth, touchdown. John Stallworth, a great play. And at the other end, Lawrence Taylor, minus his helmet, slow getting up.
Tremendous pro John Stallworth. We mentioned he's changing his role, but how many times have we seen Stallworth at the end of great catches like this one? Again on Perry Williams, the fastest of those defensive backs, and he just went up and took it away from him, and then, not losing concentration on that ball, rolled himself into the end zone. That's a pretty play, and a very desperately needed play for these Pittsburgh Steelers.
Anderson adds the extra point, and Giant Stadium today, premium taste in a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? And by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store. They're all here, a sellout at Giant Stadium. A bit warmer now with the sun breaking through in the late afternoon. Temperature around 30 degrees. Skidding kick by Anderson, picked up by Don Hasselbeck. And the tight end driving out to the 43-yard line. Steelers down 28-10, and they're trying to tackle the ball, and that allowed Hasselbeck to make a pretty good return out of it.
I think they got what they wanted. They put the ball in the hands of someone who's not used to carrying it, Usually you're told to let that ball go through. Hasselbeck, who does handle it as a tight end, lowered his shoulder, and boy, they were steaming in there to try and put those hats right on that football.
Fred Small, 54, making a solid crash, but Hasselbeck maintaining possession, and a first down for the Giants at their 43. Both Johnson and Williams to the left. Carpenter and Morris behind Phil Simms. Fumble. And who has it? The Steelers. The ball was sitting there for them, and do they recover? Yes.
It looked like David Little wanted to get his hands on that football. It was Robin Cole who blitzed in there for the sack, knocked that ball loose, and then David Little wanted to pick it up and run for it, and almost cost him the recovery in the process. But there were just too many Steelers there, as they have thrown caution to the winds. They come with the blitz and make the big play. There's the shot right there. Robin Cole in there knocking that ball out of the hands of Simms. That was a running play. And there was David Little. He's the one to try to get his hands on it. I believe it was Robin Cole that finally came up with the football.
Both ends forced the fumble, recovered it. Simms didn't have a chance. Campbell to Stallworth. A gain of 4 or 5. Terry Kennard made the play for the Giants. Well, Merlin, you know Chuck Noll very well, and a man who has coached or been in football for 33 consecutive years. Those eyes must be burning right through some of the Steelers at halftime, and he might just have awakened them to make this a more interesting game after all.
Well, he's not a man that traditionally tries to change the emotional level of his team with his own performance. But I would bet that there was some of that in the halftime locker room here at Giant Stadium today.
Pollard to the 20-yard line. That'll be short of a first down. Lawrence Taylor and Curtis McGriff with the tackle.
Carried by Pollard.
We also ought to remind you that last week Pittsburgh Steelers down 21-0 at the beginning of a game with the Buffalo Bills, and they came back to win that game. Of course, that was at home, and the Buffalo Bills are not the New York Giants, but already here today they've put a touchdown on the board in the second half. They're threatening third and short yardage. Let's see if the Giant defense can respond in this situation.
Third and a long yard. Pollard stacked up short of the first down, and Lawrence Taylor right down in the middle of that pile.
Pollard wanted a call on Carl Banks, number 58, a backup linebacker who steamed in late, kind of rolled over the top of the stack. But that's exactly the kind of play that this Giant defense has been making all year long, and Noll is going to go for it. Absolutely nothing to lose. There you see Parcell exhorting his defense.
Crowd on its feet trying to help out the Giants. He had Cunningham all alone, but short hopped it as he's hurt. Campbell trying to wait, find a man open, and was drilled by Carl Banks, number 58, and he is in pain. Giants have taken over on downs.
A shame, a gutsy call from the Steelers sideline, and the play was actually open. They wanted to get downfield. When they couldn't get downfield, they tried to pick up the first down. That ball powered into the ground.
10 minutes, 10 seconds left, third quarter. 28-10 Giants. Defense taking over at the 20-yard line, and on first down it's Joe Morris with a gain of close to 5. Let's go back to Scott Campbell, who has had a rough afternoon here in New Jersey.
Now these are shots from earlier in the game, and Scott Campbell's been sacked twice on the day. That's the first shot he took, and that's the same knee he's having trouble with. Later on, watch him as he gets decked by Lawrence Taylor. Boy, he has been on the ground. Here's another shot by Taylor as he spun around, but it has been a tough afternoon for that young man.
2nd and 5, and Morris, the record setter, is spun out of bounds at the 28-yard line, short of a first down by 2. Robin Cole and Greg Carr on the tackle, and that's Mark Malone warming up just in case.
Now David Woodley, well, Malone is saying yes or no. Woodley, of course, has also been injured, as has Malone. So the Steelers, who have played 3 quarterbacks for the first time since 1973, now have 3 injured quarterbacks on their hands.
3rd and 2. Morris again. First down. Look at it. Boy, he's hit, and he's so low to the ground, he kind of squirts out of the pile, and suddenly, when you think the play's over, there's Morris in open territory.
One has to wonder how long you'll play a Joe Morris. And Bill Parcells said something interesting about Morris. He said he plays with such intensity that I have to get him in and out of the ball game. I can't just play him and let him run the ball maybe 30 times. It looks like he's hurting a little bit right now, and that would not be good news for this Giant team.
169 yards now for Morris. On first down, it's Carpenter to the 39-yard line. Gary Dunn spearheading the charge. The Giants' offensive line, that's Oates, the center, played in the USFL. You see somebody's blood.
That's probably his own from his, looks like his arm, from perhaps from a carpet burn on those elbows, which takes such a beating on this artificial turf.
At that line, Merlin Oates at center, Ard and Godfrey at guard, Benson and Nelson at tackle. Basically a young line, none of them in the Pro Bowl. They're not household names, but Parcells feels that that's one of the true strengths of his team.
I think what makes them so effective is how well they play with each other. Tremendous teamwork, absolutely tremendous teamwork. There's Oates heading to the sideline. Conrad Good will head in to take his place, and they've got a couple of youngsters waiting for an opportunity. They're not short of talent along that offensive line.
2nd and long, and the rookie Adams drilled by Mike Merriweather. John Goodman was also there for the Steelers. A yard gain to the 41, bringing up 3rd and 4. 8 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Steelers with a chance to put some pressure on the Giants, but the Giants defense equal to the task and stopping Pittsburgh at the Giant 20-yard line.
And of course, we ought to remind people that Abercrombie and Pollard have both been injured, so they've been without their 2-star running backs in the second half and through much of the first half.
Over the middle to Galbraith. No running back has caught more passes in the NFL than that man, Tony Galbraith. That's his 430th career catch.
I like to see a man who many felt was finished in the NFL come back and play so effectively. He's won 4 games for the Giants over the last 2 years, and here you see him making a very nice play on Donnie Shell, a veteran himself, spinning back to the inside to get a couple of extra yards.
And a first down at the Steeler 48. Morris back in. Carpenter with a carry. Donnie Shell shut off the outside and then assisted Goodman and Little on the tackle. No gain.
Looking at Donnie Shell, 3 of these Steelers, 33 years old. They're the veterans of this team. Shell, Webster, and Stallworth. All 3 of them, of course, have made their share of all-pro teams, and all 3 have announced their intentions to come back. And leadership, such an important part of a team. And even though Chuck Noll is going to have to do some rebuilding to take this team back to a championship level, you need those kind of leaders in the lineup.
Incomplete to Carpenter. Led a bit too much by Sims. Bill Sims. He's in the Pro Bowl. You know, it's interesting yesterday, and you see it more than you'd ever imagine. Here's Sims. He's entirely right-handed as an athlete. Everything he does. Then he was writing something on the chalkboard down in the dressing room, left-handed. He writes left. You would think that if you're dominant right, you would be writing with that. He's a southpaw. And he said, if you ask me to pick up something, I'd pick it up with my left hand.
But he throws. I have a son who does the same thing. Bats right-handed, writes left-handed, eats left-handed.
So Sims, if he's in trouble, I guess could go to the southpaw slant. Adams, not much there. John Goodman was for Pittsburgh, and the fans with a 28-10 lead don't like the Giants running the football.
These fans are tough, but I don't know if that's aimed at Sims. But, you know, you got to ask the question, how good would Phil Simms be today if he hadn't had to fight all those injuries, shoulder separations in 80 and 81 to knock him out of most of those two contests, a knee injury in 82, and a broken thumb in 83.
Lips wisely letting that ball go into the end zone. As the wind really carried it, he was calling fair catch at the 10, and finally when he saw himself at the 5, said, I'll let this one go, and it was a wise choice. Steelers will have the ball when we return at their 20. Giants, they win. They're in the playoffs. The biggest loser, or at least a defined loser today, should the Steelers lose because they have no place to go, would be Cincinnati.
It's interesting, too, that Sam White earlier in the week, and I don't think necessarily all jokingly, offered all the help he could give the Steelers to get ready for the Giants. Of course, White and his team were able to beat the Giants early in the regular season, but they would appear to be out of the playoffs since they needed the Steelers victory today to get them home.
Campbell. And that is the 3rd sack for the Giants. Their 68th of the year. They lead the NFL. In fact, at this point, they're only 4 back of the all-time record set by the Bears last year of 72.
Sacks, of course, an indication of the kind of pressure that a team can put on an offense, and in particular a young quarterback. And here comes Campbell to the sideline, replaced by Mark Malone.
Malone, who was knocked out in game 8 with a toe injury, gives it to Pollard. Good block by Stallworth to help Pollard all the way to the 43-yard line, and suddenly Frank Pollard, who needed 99 yards rushing today, hit that 1,000-yard mark. He's getting some big gains here in the second half. 23 yards on that haul.
Look at that, 67 yards on the day. There's a $10,000 bonus at the end of that 99 yards if he goes over the 1,000-yard mark. And that's certainly within reach for him, in particular because of the fact that the Giants still have to think pass.
28-10 the score. The Giants leading all the way. Malone to Lips, incomplete. Elvis Patterson on the coverage.
Got to be awfully difficult for wide receivers and for running backs, for a center even, to have rotated 3 quarterbacks throughout this season. Each man basically with a little bit different style of throwing the football, with a little different style of calling the signals. And of course, there's the newest casualty on the quarterback injury list, Scotty Campbell, who's just really been bounced around out there today.
He was hoping to be impressive enough that he would earn himself some notoriety going into next year. He wants the job, but it was a rough afternoon. Pollard. Oof. Harry Carson unloading his 240 pounds on the ball carrier Pollard. Unbeaten. Matched up right after our football action from East Rutherford, Georgetown, and DePaul. 2 Catholic rivals go at it out at Rosemont. They'll have a big crowd of 16,000 plus to see which team will remain in the unbeaten ranks. Our Albert Al McGuire standing by for that one. Malone, and Lips can't get there. Terry Williams on the coverage, and the Steelers will have to punt. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. Bill McConkey back at his 18-yard line. Newsom just does get it away. It's a dying kick. McConkey, well, that's a good job fair catching that ball. He had to run 20 yards to get there, and it'll be the Giants ball at the 36-yard line. Timeout, 3:56 left in the third quarter. The Giants closing in on a playoff spot. There's the hot seat. That's the jersey number up in Poughkeepsie. I don't know what you call, but the player, you can see, they put their feet in the little slots, keep them warm, and the seat itself is heated. Johnson, who has a touchdown reception today, drilled, but holds on at the Pittsburgh 44. 20 more yards for the Giants. That's only the 9th pass attempted by Simms today.
Johnson on the receiving end of several of those today, and you've got to wonder when Lionel Manuel returns to the lineup, and he will be activated now, assuming the Giants go on to win for the playoffs, how much better this Giant passing attack will be with him back in the lineup.
Joe Morris. For those of you joining us late, Morris is already established with his work today. Over 160 yards, a new single-season rushing mark, breaking that of Ron Johnson's in 1972. And he is now about a half 100 away from setting a single-game record.
One has to ask, how much more of Joe Morris are we going to see? The game certainly not out of reach for Pittsburgh, but the way the Giant defense is playing and the Pittsburgh offense, realistically, it probably is that way.
Sims underneath to his tight end, Bavaro. He fumbles, and 22, Rick Woods has recovered for the Steelers. Sims arguing that the receiver was down, but the officials have signaled first down, Pittsburgh.
Turnovers, always a sign of what is happening with a defensive team. The ball caught right there. That's David Little, and then Mike Merriweather, number 57. We talked about a big play player, what a big play player he is. He was the man who stripped it away. Rick Woods, of course, there to pounce on the football. Give the Steelers another opportunity.
Wait a minute. Here comes Jerry Markbright and the officials, and they may be reconsidering that call. From our angle, you couldn't tell whether or not Bavaro had lost it, but certainly that's a classic play. The receiver trying to struggle for that last inch, and that's where those fumbles occur. The sophistication of the defenses in that regard has really changed even since your era.
On the defense, 5 yards, and let him have a first down.
Oh, that one came out of nowhere, didn't it? After the Steelers had recovered the ball and gone to the sidelines to celebrate, then almost mysteriously a penalty appears, and Chuck Noll has to be mystified by the incredible delay before.
I didn't see the flag.
I didn't either. No.
I don't think Chuck Noll saw it either. Well,
and the officials had all signaled that it was first down Pittsburgh, so
it wasn't the question that we thought it was, a question of possession. It was another foul somewhere else on the field, and of course that gives the Giants possession of the football once more, and a first down just about the 37-yard line.
Morris, a big hole. Oh, is he quick all the way to the 12-yard line. Dwayne Woodruff saved a touchdown. It would have been Morris's 4th of the game. 24, make it 25 more yards tacked onto Morris's total.
He has to be hurting and gasping for breath, but celebrating at the same time. And let's give some credit to his offensive line as he runs in behind a good block from George Adams on that play. Over there on that right-hand side behind Nelson and Godfrey. Oates, of course, at center, and Ard and Benson. They've had a fine day of opening the way for him today.
Adams in for Morris, and he stopped after a yard, maybe 2 yards. Joe Morris now unofficially with 195 yards. That, by the way, is the third, make that the second most yards ever gained against a Chuck Noll defense. Only O.J. Simpson, who rushed for over 200 on a afternoon that Noll just soon forget, has done better than Morris against his defense. 2nd and 8. A touchdown here would just about wrap up the playoff package and make it a happy Christmas for these Giants. Sims right through the arms of Bobby Johnson. It was drilled. You could actually hear that ball go off the padded mitts of Johnson.
Thump. And what a live arm Sims has. He really unloaded that football. A lot of these receivers wearing gloves on this cold afternoon, and even though they practice in those gloves, and I believe that Johnson has on the scuba mitts or scuba gloves, you saw that ball bouncing free, hard enough to contain a hard pass on a regular field with hands that are empty, let alone full of gloves.
Right right into the eyes of Sims on 3rd and 8. Good coverage by Woodruff as he was right on Adams. Sims not happy, but he didn't have an open target, and here comes Schubert to try a field goal.
So very often we don't get a chance to tell all of the stories on the field, but Dwayne Woodruff, number 49, who goes up to bat this ball away, playing all year long, or most all year, with a dislocated elbow. He missed 5 games and has come back and literally has had to play with one arm, and of course has had some problems as a result, but you've got to give him the credit for having the courage to be out there.
No good. It's wide to the right from 27 yards. So Eric Schubert has missed for only the 3rd time this year. Now, a relatively easy 27-yard attempt, just wide to the right.
Watch the snap. High and inside. Made it difficult for Jeff Rutledge to get that ball down, and I'm sure disrupted Schubert's timing. Here it is again. Now watch Rutledge have to lean back to the inside. Last week there was a missed snap or a bad snap on a punt. That was one of the critical turnovers, or caused one of the critical turnovers in that turnaround that ended up really tipping the game back in the favor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, the Steelers trailing 28-10, a minute and a half left in the 3rd quarter. Mark Malone goes to work, screens it, incomplete. Todd Spencer. Oh, what a New Year's Day we have for you fans as we start 1986 with this triple header, the Fiesta Bowl, featuring the Michigan Wolverines against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, then on to Pasadena for the Granddaddy, the Rose, UCLA against Iowa, and what a day way to finish the day. The Orange Bowl, most likely the national championship to be decided as the Oklahoma Sooners play the unbeaten Penn State Nittany Lions. Boy, just tune us in for the parade in the morning on NBC, and we've got a football feast for you. Pollard might better have let that ball drop incomplete. He loses 5 yards on the completion. Gary Reasons, 55 on the tackle.
Leonard Marshall, number 3 sacker in the NFL, 15.5 he has, right in the middle of your screen. Number 70, driving inside, out of the arms of the offensive tackle on that side, Ray Pinney, number 65. It's that first pressure right there that really got Malone in trouble. Malone able to get that football away, but as you said, better idea to drop that one. And, well, not only drop the football, don't take those hits either.
Number 70, worn by Sam Huff as a Giant. 3rd and 15. That's going to be intercepted. No, knocked away. Kennard in front of Stallworth, and John Stallworth slow getting up. Well, you wonder how those guys stay in one piece.
I will tell you this. It's even more difficult because the body is not pliable. Just doesn't bend as well, and that's a sandwich right there. Kennard, we mentioned, playing with a dislocated thumb, and doesn't seem to bother him too much in this half. May have had a little help to take some of the sting out of that thumb, I'm sure.
Play the role of Harry Newsom. McConkey at the 48. 40. Flags are down. McConkey out of bounds inside the 30. We may have had an illegal block.
Looked like there was one on Mike Merriweather down close to McConkey that kept him from containing on that play.
32-yard punt. Wind really held that one up in a 26-yard return, but
the wind has gotten strength, and it's coming in from left to right and then circling back into the stadium, circling around, looking at the goalpost. Hard to tell which way it's blowing, but obvious it was against him.
57 on the run back, first down.
Yeah, it's rather remarkable, the Giants, with their great history and many outstanding years, especially back in the 50s and early 60s. But Parcells this year with a winning record, as was the case last year. The first time the Giants have had back-to-back winning seasons since '62 and '63. Been a long drought. And Giants now just a quarter and 21 seconds away from at least having a home playoff chance. First time in 23 seasons. Carpenter into the Pittsburgh 47-yard line, shy of the first down, and with it probably the end of the quarter. 2 seconds, 1 second. That's at the end of the third quarter here at Giants Stadium. The New York Giants 15 minutes away from a wild card, and we'll be back after. Yeah, we started today, temperature in the mid-20s. It warmed to around 30 after a nice dusting of snow here in the city last night. And now 15 minutes to go for the Giants and a wild card spot at home next weekend. Morris himself after another record, and he certainly has drawn the interest of the Steeler defense. Robin Cole, 56, the primary tackler. Morris standing on the cusp of a 200-yard gain and needs now only 21 yards to pass Gene Roberts' record of 218 when you consider all of the men who have lugged the football for this organization through the decades. Here's Morris. He just breaking one record after another. Already earlier in the game set a new single season, breaking the Ron Johnson mark of 1972. 3 more touchdowns. He has 21 touchdowns, the leader in the NFL this year. Sims to Byron Williams. Good throw by Sims. He was being wrapped up, was able to. There's the strength of arm. Still gunned that ball. That looked like a Bradshaw, Terry Bradshaw pass.
Same kind of pass that a Dan Marino throws. I think it's so important for a quarterback when he's under heat to be able to throw from almost any position. He literally almost throws from the back foot here as he's under pressure, just launches that football and got it right on target. Sims impressive, even though he has not thrown the football that much in the way he has thrown the football today.
Does remind you of Bradshaw, even in the appearance, the blonde head, hair and all. Morris unable to slip away from Donnie Shell. Not many have through the years, and Morris down at the 32.
Talking to the Giant coaches about Joe Morris, one of the things that they recognize in him is the fact that he is not as complete a back, for example, as a Marcus Allen. Great running talent, but not a great blocker and not a great receiver. So on third down yardage and third down situations, he's out of the ball game for a Tony Galbraith. Now, that doesn't give this offense quite the flexibility you'd have if he had those other capabilities.
2nd down and 7 for Sims. Carpenter. Oh! A rotary tackle, and Carpenter down at the 25 with a first down.
Sell out with that body, and Carpenter does. He's not afraid to throw himself in the air, looking for that extra chunk of yardage. Just threw his body up on that last play.
He almost did the Nat Moore helicopter spin. I remember that one against the Jets last year.
From everyone's highlight film.
Carpenter on first down. Just able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
There's something that we could have anticipated, I think, a little earlier. Steelers out of this ball game, or relatively so at this point. Very frustrated by their performance on the day. Here's that play we tried to show you. Just throwing himself. Number 26, Rob Carpenter. What is the degree of difficulty on that dive?
Well, he didn't. Nat Moore still is the Loganus, so that dive. 2nd and 10. 28-10, the Giants lead the Steelers. Looking for more. Wide open. Johnson. Clayton with a tackle at the 13. 12 more yards for the Giants. Another first down.
Secret again to that particular play. Good blocking up front. Sims had time to wait for the receiver to come clear and then got it on target.
And here's Joe Morris checking into that Giant huddle. He has 200 yards today, 3 touchdowns.
I know where I'd be looking if I were down there playing defense.
Carpenter and Morris in the eye. There he is. To the 5-yard line. 8 more yards for Morris. Woods and Shell make the tackle. 205 yards now for Joe Morris.
When you got the hammer, use it. And Morris, who's just continued to break tackles all day long. Again, behind the good block right there by Carpenter. Over on that right-hand side behind Nelson and Godfrey. A block 2 by the tight end. Who was on that side?
Bavaro?
No. Hasselbeck was over there.
13 yards away from that Giant record.
I think he'll pick up close to the first down on that play as he just submarined on that play.
Well, what a season. A man who has set new Giant records for most yards in a season. He has set a record for most touchdowns scored, and now just a handful away from most yards in a single game.
I was trying to think of who he reminded me of in his running style, and at or near the line of scrimmage, I think it's Robert Newhouse with that very square build and those bow legs. But Newhouse, of course, did not have that great explosive speed.
Dick Bass was came to mind. The folks that remember the scooter from Los Angeles Rams days in the 50s and 60s.
I, of course, remember that because I was there. Another first down.
And if you really want to go back, how about one of the immortals of this game, Claude Buddy Young? He was around at 5'6", 5'7", the blocky build. Great star at Illinois. They're chanting, Joe, Joe, Joe. Looking for his 4th touchdown today. Quite. Stopped right on the sill.
You'll feel the intensity of this play. Sims hands it off, and Joe Morris buries himself in the body of Dirt Winston, number 55, and number 57, Mike Merriweather.
2nd and goal. Carthen is nailed for a loss of about a half yard. Maurice Carthen from Arkansas State. He's playing in his 43rd game this calendar year, having played spring ball in the USFL for the New Jersey Generals. They really like his talent as a blocker.
Well, he's not alone. Ray Penny for the Steelers, for the Oakland Invaders this past year, the USFL. Those players who've gone through back-to-back seasons, their bodies just have to be quivering about now, looking for some time off.
Tell you what, will you give me a new car if Morris carries on this town? I'm just going to guess. They say he was stopped. No touchdown. He was stopped right at the goal line.
I think they're saying that his knee touched the ground before he threw himself in the end zone, because he got into the end zone without question. Now, do you go again and hand him the ball on 4th down?
Boy, Dennis Winston has stopped him 3 times at the goal line.
There's the shot right there. Dirt Winston hit him, and the knee hits the ground before the ball crosses the line. Well, hard to tell from that angle, but that's the call by the official.
4th and goal.
Same play.
What a stand. Number 93, Keith Willis, the defensive end, and the Steelers 3 times from the 1-yard line, and the Giants can't punch it in. And that is evidence of pride by that Pittsburgh defense.
No question. Gary Dunn, 67 from the inside. In there with Keith Willis. That's first shot. Powerful one by Dirk Winston. And then the two defensive linemen go to work. Mike Merriweather on the backside to pull him down. He didn't have a chance on that play.
So much for Morris's 4th touchdown. 7:17 remain. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By AT&T. In long-distance services, information systems, telephones, and computers, AT&T is the right choice. And by General Electric. At GE, we bring good things to life. Pittsburgh after that goal line stand. And Malone has it fly swatted by 58. Carl Banks, talented #1 draft pick out of Michigan State a year ago. Merlin, you talked earlier about drafting and how different coaches pick players on a different system basis. And then you said something about the Steelers and those offensive linemen.
They're not as fussy about the size. They've got on the right side of that offensive line, Terry Long and Tunch Ilkin are both extremely short. In fact, Long, the shortest offensive lineman in all of football. But they're good players.
This is Pollard, and Leonard Marshall has him after only a 2-yard gain.
In fact, it's kind of interesting. They list Terry Long at 5'11", but Tunch Ilkin says when Terry and I go out to the line together, we get down in our stance real quick so they can't see how small we are. But I think they're almost as wide across as they are tall. And Ilkin, who's had a few problems here today, I think is the one member of that offensive line that this coaching staff was eager to point out had an outstanding season. Of course, along with Mike Webster, but that's kind of expected from the big center.
6.5 minutes remain. Pollard can't slip away, and the Steelers will have to kick it away. Harry Carson made the tackle. So that last drive by the Giants, Bill Parcells disappointed, no points, but they accomplished one thing. They chewed up over 8 minutes off that clock, and it's running now, closing in on the 6-minute mark. And it appears indeed the Giants will win today, earn the wild card home field advantage next week, and with a Steeler loss, the Cincinnati Bengals are knocked out of any playoff hopes. Newsom.
Line drive.
McConkey at his own 49 and knocked out of bounds at the 45 of Pittsburgh. And there go some flags. A 44-yard punt, a 7-yard return. Little extracurricular work on the side. Gary Reasons of the Giants was involved along with 54 Fred Small of the Steelers.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 54, kicking team on the run back, first down, timeout.
And so the penalty will be marked off against the Steelers, a timeout. 5:46 remaining. Giants with the ball after the penalty start at the Pittsburgh 30-yard line with 5:46 remaining, and Morris hit by Mark Catano.
Dick, on the Steelers sideline, and we've watched a lot more Steeler victories, believe me, over the past few years than losses, but every time we've seen the Steelers play poorly, if you look down on the bench area, you'll see an area of open space around Chuck Noll. That's Chuck right in the middle of your screen, and believe me, everybody is giving him a little breathing room. I don't think anybody wants to get too close to him right at this moment, and I don't blame them.
Joe Morris has run on some hard times here in the fourth quarter and has lost some yardage. His total count is 206 yards. And alertly fallen upon by Carl Nelson, number 63, the tackle.
And I wonder if what Parcells had indicated earlier about the fact that Morris is not the kind of player who can carry the ball continually, who gets fatigued and needs that rest. Maybe that's having its impact here. This ball knocked away, the hand right on the ball. Good defensive play. Robin Cole, he's stripped 2 fumbles like that on the day. Watch it here as his hand shoots in. You see him reaching right in and snatching that ball away.
That was the 35th carry by Morris today. This is Galbraith. And the veteran driving to the 26-yard line. Donnie Shell finally made the stop. 13 yards for Galbraith in his 10th year out of the University of Missouri. And the clock ticking away. And with it, the high hopes of the Giants alive.
One of the things that it might be worth doing is talking about the kind of balance and the kind of energy that these Giants will carry into the playoffs. I really think they're well equipped to compete in the playoffs. They have good balance between offense and defense. Their special teams have certainly been adequate over this year, if not overpowering. The thing that they don't have a lot of are outright weaknesses. And of course, with Lionel Manuel coming back off the injured roster and onto the active roster, that should beef up their passing game a bit. But if they could stay healthy, they would appear to me to be a viable contender in the playoffs.
And we have a timeout with an 18-point beaten clubs. Galbraith in a crowd of white, and he loses, and suddenly the Steeler defense dominant since they stopped the Giants on that goal line effort.
I think maybe the Giants running out of enthusiasm. They've had so many things to cheer about on this day, and right now they just like to get this game over with and start thinking about and preparing for the playoffs.
I was looking through some notes, Merlin, about the emotional nature of the athlete, and now that the Giants are on the field of play, worthy of note. Here's Pollard as he closes in on that $10,000 bonus. In a Psychology Today article about 4 years ago, a study showed that most non-athletes were more hostile and more aggressive than football players, with one exception: linebackers. That the linebackers are right there with the rest of us common folk, angry, anxious, and aggressive. With those defensive linemen, they're pussycats. Ooh. See?
Yes.
That was Carson and Reason's 2 linebackers. 2:35 left. Did you find that to be true? The linebackers were a little nastier than some of the others?
No question about it. Not only the most aggressive players on the team usually, but also the biggest hitters. I think throughout the league, I think the people delivering perhaps the hardest pound for pound body blows and shoulder blows are linebackers.
Malone escaping Taylor, and he'll buy it right there at the 42. Barry Carson, the closest Giant, and that takes us to the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes left. The Giants apparently are home free for the playoffs. The Giants apparently will host the wild card. First time they've ever been at home in the playoffs since 1962. And the first time, of course, in this new stadium. And Chuck Noll's pride shown at times in the second half, but early on, the Giants were the dominant team as they rolled out to that 28-3 first half lead.
I think a stark realization that changes have to be made in Pittsburgh, and I think you'll see them. Chuck Noll has never been afraid to make them, and he's got some rebuilding to do to bring these Steelers back to the kind of quality that they have known for so many years. The last losing season, 1971. Boy, there aren't many franchises who can say that. The Giants, on the other hand, coming out of those dog years and doldrums to look at the playoffs again this year, as they did last year.
They'll probably give it to Pollard because he now is only 9 yards away. Now flag is down. And the flag is down as Taylor continued. Or was that Banks who drags down Malone? Now that's one of the penalty calls. Well, they sorted out. We also want to wish the best and for the future and to thank them. It's been our delight to be able to call their tremendous talents in the NFL, men who are retiring this year. illegal motion against the Steelers, and then the face mask against Banks. Julius Adams, the veteran defensive end, will hang him up at the end of this year. Freddie Solomon announced that yesterday, the 49ers wide receiver. And man might just be a Hall of Famer as a kicker. Jan Stenerud, the oldest of the NFL players, hangs him up with the Vikings. And for those men and others who decide not to come back next year, we can only say thank you. It's been fun to watch your tremendous talent.
And they'll be missed.
.154 left. There's an option play, and Spencer throws it away, and the Giants have it. Carl Banks.
Well, somehow it has just been that kind of day. Appropriately enough, the Pittsburgh offense, another turnover.
You cannot advance a backward pass, so they spot it at the 49-yard line of the Giants. Well, the one question that'll remain for Giants fans and everyone else on the NFC side, can anyone win in Chicago in the playoffs? Bears, best team in the league, no question this year, proven that, and they have the home field.
I can tell you this, it's going to be tough. But I think the other thing that we have to be aware of is that you don't get to the Super Bowl by being the best team during the regular season. You get there by winning in the playoffs. There goes Joe Morris to the sideline, and you see Bill Parcells just pick him up and give him a hug. Boy, he's earned those hugs today.
Well, they say the best-selling toy item this year is that teddy bear that talks. Well, Joe Morris, you could manufacture that doll and you'd have a few sales. What a year. What a game. This is the rookie Lee Rusin from Colorado, and just running out the clock, and it's unlikely that the Steelers will even use a timeout.
Dick, just to finish that thought about the Bears and about their great season, the concern that I would have if I were Mike Ditka would be worrying that my team might not be able to sustain the great emotion that they have had throughout this season. Parcells just got doused by a little premature celebration there. He wants one of those guys.
He coached at West Point football, and Bob Knight was the basketball coach there. They're close friends. Communicate often during the course of the year. And now it's official, the final seconds, and the fans of the Giants celebrate a return home for the playoffs. And Joe Morris, the little man, played the big role in getting that final step. There it is, the final gun. 10 wins for Bill Parcells' Giants. The most in over 2 decades. Chuck Noll, you almost had the feeling he's going to work on next year as he walks to the locker room.
Well, I think the frustration of this game will fuel preparations for 1986 in Pittsburgh. You wondered why Bill Parcells was wet? Keep an eye on the coach here.
Boy, our cameramen just don't miss anything. Ted Davidson, Larry Cirillo, our director, producer, and
I think that was Lawrence Taylor that did that, Dick. I could see a 56 just out of the corner of my eye.
And so, 28-10 the final. The Giants got all they needed in the first half. Joe Morris down in that dressing room, and Ahmad Rashad will try to capture the spirit of the Giants, clinching the wild card spot. He's on his way into that dressing room, so stay tuned for NFL 85 and the reactions of the victorious Giants. Well, a wild card and perhaps a wild party about to start here in the country of the Big Apple. The Giants are happy winners. Bill Parker.